Hello everybody, welcome back to Andy's Amateur Adventures. Today I'll be continuing doing some customizations and improvements to my new truck. I'll be installing my dash cam from it. This is a dash cam that I pulled from my Mini that I had before I had this. So I've had this dash cam about 3 years and I'm repurposing it into my truck. So I'm showing off, that is the mounting plate for the dash cam. Unfortunately, all the glue stuff did not survive removing it from a window, so I got some Scotch double-sided tape and I'm going to use that to secure it to the window. This is what I did during this video. Unfortunately, it did not work out. That Scotch tape, double-sided tape, did not work. Was not adhered enough, so I ended up changing out with Gorilla Tape in the long run. So that it fell off about 2 weeks after I recorded this video. So the 60-pound Gorilla double-sided tape worked perfect for this application. The Scotch did not. But continuing on, once I got the adhesive tape on the backside, I figured out where I wanted to have my dash cam, and then I adhered the base plate to the windshield. I did it with the dash cam attached to it just because it was a lot easier to line it up. You can do it with just the base plate if you want. Once I got the mounting plate installed, I started running both the wires back. There's 2 wires, one that goes to the rear dash cam, one that goes to the fuse box. So I ran both of them. So the first step in running this wire was to remove that trim piece you see right there on the hood. Once you take that trim piece off, there is a cable connecting it still. I initially thought it was a wire, but it's actually not a wire, it's a cable that is there to reinforce it just in case it comes loose while you're driving or something like that. So it is perfectly okay to let it dangle by that cable. But go ahead and run your wires back from your dash cam all the way back to your fuse box and to your other one. I believe the first wire I ran was the one that goes to the fuse box. So I ran it over this dash, and then I ran down the underneath the trim for the A-pillar console. The A-pillar trim came out nice and easy. I just pulled it straight forward and it dislodged. This little piece of trim right here was a little bit more difficult. I had to use a trim removal tool, and I just pried it out, and it eventually all the snaps undid and it came out. And then I continued down into the fuse box. And since I'm moving down to the fuse box, I might as well go ahead and put the fuse box diagram up on screen. If you notice, numbers 3 and 6 are the fuses that turn on and off with the truck. If you want your dash cam to turn on and off with your truck, you tap into either fuse 3 or 6. All the other fuses are live. Fuse number 20 and 24 are spare fuses that are not used. So if you want to keep your dash cam on at all times, then 20 or 24. The Vantrue S1 is supposed to have a security mode where it stays on all the time, but it doesn't kick on until it senses some sort of disturbance. I found that that's a little bit sensitive, so it constantly goes off and it drains my battery pretty much overnight. So I set it so it turns on and off with the truck by tapping into fuse number 3. You can also tap into fuse number 6, but again, that one, that fuse has some obstructions around it, so it's a little bit more difficult to get to. So fuse 3 is the easiest one that I found. So during that little bit of video, I was connecting the fuse tab to the end of the positive wire, and now I'm going ahead and I'm inserting the fuse into the fuse box. And you see I have the wire nice and pleated up, nice and straight. And it doesn't cover a whole lot of other stuff in the fuse box. And just so you know, fuse tabs are directional. So the way I have it faced with it going up, that's correct for this fuse box. It may not be correct for all other fuse boxes. And now in order to do the ground wire, I have to get back behind the glove box. In order to open the glove box, there's this little black piece right there. I'm trying to clamp it with some needle nose pliers. I actually didn't need to do that. I didn't realize that. You just pull out on it and then it comes off. And then I went at it with lineman pliers, waste my time, but I did eventually realize I just needed to pull it out with my hands. And then those two tabs you push in and they won't stay out, but once you push them in, then the entire thing goes down and you've detached your glove box. So that bolt that I just touched is where I'm going to attach the ground. You'll see some bolts down by the fuse box. You don't want to use those as ground because they run to plastic. They don't actually run to the metal frame. But that bolt that I'm running that piece up to actually connects to the metal frame, and that's a good ground. Now during this sequence, I'm just connecting the black wire to the ground, and then I'm putting everything back and putting all the lower trim pieces on. And then I go up and I connect the power wire to the Vantrue S1 main body and wait for it to turn on to see if it will actually work before I go through the process of connecting the rear camera. But as you see, I connected the power wire and the camera turned on, so it works. And now I'm gonna run the cable back to the rear camera and install the rear camera. And moving right along, I took the camera down and let the base plate adhere some more because it actually fell off in between clips. And now I am just routing the wire back to the rear window, or the rear windscreen. And I just go along, and I actually didn't need to remove any trim pieces for it. I just tucked the wire up underneath the trim pieces where the roof trim piece and the actual side trim pieces meet. Now some people would say not to do this because that is where your airbags come down and the wire could interfere with the airbags. I actually plan to install a roof rack in a couple months, and I have to hold the roof part of my truck down in order to do that. And at that time, I'll police up the cable and secure it to the actual metal roof, and not just let it sit up underneath that upper trim piece, and that'll keep it out of the way of the airbags. Now a couple of these trim pieces were pretty tight. It was hard to get the cable up in there, but it did run, it did go, and it did set. So now that the cable is run to where it wanted it to on the rear windshield, I just reconnect the back camera, and I'm using that Gorilla Tape instead of the Scotch tape, and it lets sit there, and then I connect up the front camera, and then installation is complete. Now I should note that although the installation is complete, once I get the rear camera on, the work is not, because I did tidy up those two cables you see coming out from where the rear speaker is, and I did wipe down all the windows, and I did turn on the camera to make sure that it worked. And then I picked up all my tools. So once I did all that, then the work was complete, not just the installation. But I hope this helps you guys you out if you're installing a dash cam in your Ford Maverick. Thank you for staying to the end. You have a great day.